Hi there, it's Cheryl Truesdale, and I'm thrilled that you're here with me for this episode of Cheryl Shares TV, your station for inspiration. Now today, I'm gonna go get all spiritual on ya. Yeah, I know it's a little bit different than usual, but you're gonna love it, especially because what I'm about to share in this video is outrageously liberating if you've ever been hurt or offended. Now, I would ask you if you've ever been offended, but I know the answer to that question is yes. So instead, I'm going to ask you, how many offenses are you dealing with right now? You see, I know from personal experience how easy it is to be slighted, insulted, and even provoked on almost a daily basis. And you know, I think the reason that this is primarily happening is because in our American culture, people tend to be busy, don't they? Which means they're stressed. Now, I know from personal experience that when I'm stressed out, I am not the most patient person. And I can even be downright crabby sometimes, which probably means not only am I being offended, I am doling out the offenses myself. Darn my shadow. Well, since being offended seems to be kind of part of daily life anymore, I thought it would be helpful to share a spiritual practice to heal offense. So this spiritual practice is something that I learned from my spiritual mentor, Richard Rohr. And he teaches this practice in his CD series called The Art of Letting Go. Now, I will warn you that this practice is a bit counterintuitive for sure, but I'm sharing it with you because it really works. And it's been a major source of emotional healing in my life. And I'm always looking for ways to share the tools and the strategies that have helped improve my life. Now, whether you call this a prayer or a meditation or a practice, it's really up to you. Because really, no matter what you call it, the point is still the same. In the end, it's an effective practice for letting go of offense and forgiving, which means you're released from the heavy burden of all the negative emotions that weigh you down when you remain offended. So I know how hard it can be when you make the choice to forgive and those darn emotions still hang around. You want to let them go, but you can't. Well, that's what this spiritual practice does for me, is it allows me to bring my emotions in alignment with my choice to just let it go. Well, Richard Rohr calls this the welcoming prayer, and I just love that title. It's also kind of a hint to the counterintuitive nature of this practice. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So the purpose of the welcoming prayer is to provide you with some guidelines for letting go of painful emotions. You know, the kind that you feel when you've been offended. And for me, it helps me to see the true source of the emotional pain that I feel when I'm offended, and that's my bruised ego. When I enter into this prayer, it forces me to give up my own investment in and identification with my own little painful story. And it does this by showing me how to invest in a bigger story, the pain of the whole world. So if you're ready to let go a little bit, I'm ready to walk you through this process step by step right now. Sound good? So I find it best to find a quiet spot to go through this prayer so that I'm not interrupted. And I totally understand if you're somewhere right now where you can't do that. Just go ahead, watch the video, kind of learn the process, and then you can apply it when you're in a more conducive environment later. Okay, let's start. So the only thing you need to do to start the prayer is to identify a hurt, a resentment, or an offense in your life. Now, once you've identified that, I want you to remember the feelings you first experienced with the hurt, and I want you to feel them the way they first felt. So as you're remembering this offensive event, I want you to notice how this starts to show up in your body. Now, once your body starts re-experiencing the event and the emotions, I want you to stay with those emotions. Now, this is the counterintuitive part of the process I was talking about, which is remaining with the pain rather than trying to avoid the pain. Now, I promise you, this is not some form of emotional torture. What it is very important part of the process, because when you're able to stay focused on the emotions And the bodily sensations that those are creating, and you feel that in your body, that keeps you from jumping into your mind, where all you're going to want to do there is think about it and analyze it and judge it. Good guy, bad guy, winner, loser, right or wrong, and all that does is create more negative emotions. So once you've been able to identify the hurt, and then you start noticing those bodily sensations, what I want you to do now is simply welcome the hurt. And you do this by refusing to fight it, by resisting any temptation to blame or to judge or to analyze. Simply welcome the pain, welcome the hurt, welcome the anger. Now, I know this is very hard to do, but there is something about naming it, feeling it, and then welcoming it that allows the healing to begin. So what I want you to do right now is just sit for a minute and welcome those emotions, and then stay focused on how they show up, those sensations from the emotions in your body. Now, as you're welcoming all of those emotions, it's important that you stay in the present moment. By staying in the present moment, you keep your ego from jumping in and becoming defensive. And as long as you can refrain from becoming defensive, the welcoming process will continue. And you want this to happen because to fully let go of all the hurt emotions, you need to fully experience all of those emotions. And usually it's at about this point where I've sat and allowed the welcoming process to continue, that at some point I notice a slight shift in my focus from my own pain and suffering to the pain and suffering of others. When we welcome our own painful emotions, something about that helps us feel the pain of the whole world. I think what happens is we start receiving compassion and mercy for our own pain and suffering, and now it's able to flow through us out toward others, including our offender. So what I want you to do right now is to take all of that suffering and pain, yours and the whole world's, and just hand it over to God. Simply choose to let it all go. Ask for grace of forgiveness for the person who hurt you, for that event that offended you, for the reality of suffering and pain in each and every life. Now, I can't promise that the pain will leave quickly or even easily. Forgiveness is not about forgetting, but by letting go, you free your soul energy, and that liberates you to a level of life you didn't even know existed before and takes you to deeper levels of your true self. Well, there you have it, a spiritual practice to heal offense. Now, I know it may take going through the process a few times to get the hang of it, but that's what's so great about video. All you need to do is bookmark this bad boy and you can refer back to it as many times as you want. And I would really love to hear about your experience using this practice. You can tell me all about it by leaving a comment under the video over at CherylTruesdale.com. So, do you feel inspired now? If so, would you like to inspire someone? Someone you know who could use a little love, hope, and inspiration to brighten their day. Got someone in mind? Then all you need to do to make a difference in their life right now is simply share this video with them. I am truly honored that you joined me for this episode of Cheryl Shares TV. Now, to make sure you get your regular dose of inspiration, just head on over to CherylTruesdale.com and sign up for email updates. That way you'll never miss an episode. And remember, you are amazing. You do matter. And you most certainly do deserve to live a happy life that you love. I'll see you soon, my friend. Bye.